Hi and welcome to our fat loss introduction video for our basic series. I'm just going to spend this video running through some of the real basics of fat loss. Again, we'll refer to a few other videos, but this will cover the introduction to fat loss. So when we look at fat loss, weight loss, whatever term you like to use, there is one principle behind it all, one single principle behind the whole thing. You may have heard this term, people throw it about a lot. What we really want to do now is try and explain it and understand it. There's a whole separate video on this topic, but if you've not watched that yet, I suggest you do that next. These two words are calorie deficit. So I often say that losing weight, losing fat, is one of the simplest things we can possibly do. Now, please note that I said simple, not easy. So what I mean by simple is that this whole term of calorie deficit simply means that you eat less and you move more. What makes that so hard? Well, what makes it so hard is that getting out and doing exercise, going a walk when it's cold and wet, isn't too much fun. Restricting yourself from having the food you like, the drinks you like, it's not always fun either. So this is why I mean when I say simple, however that doesn't mean easy. Hopefully over the course of all these videos you can learn some strategies, things you can implement which can make it easier for you as a person to implement this one simple principle. So calorie deficit. If you think how long we as humans have evolved and been on this earth, there has not always been an abundance of food. So fat storage, which is basically energy storage, is a survival mechanism. So if we go back however many years, you couldn't go to McDonald's drive-through, you couldn't even go to a local shop. You had to grow your food, catch your food. So as a survival mechanism, our bodies have adapted to store energy. That's all fat is stored energy. So now we really don't have those issues. We have corner shops, supermarkets, we have various delivery places which will drop food off at your front door. They will actually bring it to you. So fat gain now tends to become behavioural, about people overeat. Now, as I'm standing here, I'm not the leanest individual in the world. I don't purport to be. I love excess calories. I love having a drink, some alcohol, taking my daughter out, having nice food, going to the cinema, having a pick and mix. Love it all. That said, there has to be a certain line where we understand that an excess of fat is unhealthy. It's not for me to tell you where your personal line is. Everyone's different, genetically with different shapes, sizes. People find different shapes and sizes attractive. People like being a different shape or a size. That's a very personal thing. I'm not saying anything about that. I'm simply saying that beyond a certain point, it's restrictive on health. It starts causing health issues. So how can we fix this? How can we help? We go back once again to the same term, caloric deficit. So there are two simple ways you can really go about this. Either you eat less food than your body requires on a daily basis, or you increase the amount of calories that you expend on a daily basis. That can be going to the gym. If you don't like that, it could be simply going walks, classes, exercise of any kind whatsoever. So I would implore you to find some kind of exercise that you actually enjoy. So again, as we go through the video here, we'll start talking about dieting. As I said before, it's not easy. It's not always fun. But it doesn't have to be horrible. You don't have to hate dieting. It shouldn't be seen as something you need to do for a few weeks and then I can go back to just being what I normally do. It should be a sustainable lifestyle change that allows you to stay at a size, a shape, a weight that you're happy with, you're comfortable with. So As I've said, one overriding principle. However, this principle can be applied to many, many methods of fat loss. So when we look at methods, people love to sell now fad dieting products. They love to sell you teas and drinks and shakes and so many things. If they work for you, brilliant. Anything at all which works for you to help you become a healthier person, I'm all for it. Doesn't mean I agree with everything that they do, but I can't stand here and say that everything they do is negative. If they work for you, great. It's not personally how I work, how I coach, but if it works for you, more power to you. So back to methods. Some people like a lower fat diet, some people like a higher fat diet. It's the kind of Atkins keto type diets. We've got other things like the Mediterranean diet, which focuses on really healthy fish and meat and vegetables. Again, it's a very healthy diet. When we look at things like cholesterol, heart, it really comes down to your personal preference. Some people like to remove whole food groups, dairy, gluten, bread. People like to pull foods out. Once again, there's another video on food intolerances. We'll cover that. If you have a food intolerance, then by all means remove that. But you don't have to remove any food at all to lose weight. You may simply have to restrict how much of that you consume. So, something that often comes up when you deal with general public, because just to bear in mind, here at Supplement Needs and myself as a coach, we deal with a lot of athletes, bodybuilders, powerlifters, but something that comes up quite a lot when you're dealing with what we class as general population. People love to use this word, a slow metabolism. So what would a slow metabolism mean? If you've watched some of the other dieting videos, you may understand that someone who constantly is on a diet, constantly reducing their energy intake, your body will adapt to that and will slow down. However, these can be reversed by eating more and being more active. If you truly believe that you have a metabolic issue, then I would implore you to go and see a GP, go see a doctor. There are various things, thyroid issues, polycystic ovaries, various conditions which genuinely can affect your metabolism. If you don't have one of these issues, then you're going to simply have to accept that your basal metabolic rate, again, reference the maintenance videos and the BMR videos, is slower than the person next to you. If that's the case, you may have to eat less calories than someone who is a very similar size and shape to you. You may have to do more exercise. It might seem unfair. Unfortunately, it's life. Life isn't always fair. So this is why when you look at these videos on the BMR, on your metabolism, we have covered and said that it's a very individual thing. It's trial and error. You need to understand what your own metabolic rate is, what your own activity levels are. So again, myself as a male of over 100 kilos, if I had to compare myself to a female of say 60 kilos, me going a walk and doing 2 miles, for example, I would burn more calories than the 60 kilo female, simply because my body's carrying more weight around and having to do more work. On the flip side, I may have more fat to lose, so it may balance out. But just hopefully you understand that the metabolic rate is dependent on your overall size that you're moving about on a daily basis. Your body has to work harder, needs more calories for your daily functions. So if we go back, once again, I'm going to repeat myself so many times on this, calorie deficit. One of the most important things when we look at a calorie deficit is your adherence to this deficit. Why is adherence so important? We've all heard people say things like, I've tried every diet, I've tried this, nothing works for me. If it's not working for you, go back here again. If you genuinely have a metabolic issue, speak to your doctor, GP, get that fixed. If nothing is still working for you, then I would suggest that you're actually not in a calorie deficit. Now, you may believe that you are, and this is go back to again to the trial and error of how much food calories you should eat versus how much output exercise that you're doing. You're simply not in a caloric deficit. Some people may not know that they're not doing this, and what often happens, and I may get some hate for this one, people lie. People lie to their coaches, people lie to their friends, their family, but what happens a lot is people lie to themselves. Once again, I'm not having a go or simply stating facts here. So many people will say, I've stuck to this, I've stuck to whatever, but they know that they have had, there's a few extra treats, there's been sweets at work, whatever the case may be. I would implore you to get a calorie tracker on your phone and be as honest as possible as you can with that. If you start tracking your calories, you start tracking your steps and your exercise, I guarantee you, you will start making progress. This will all fall into place, and something you may have struggled with your whole life, weight loss, will fall into place. So one of the things on the site here, we really want people to do is to learn, to understand and take control. So one of my issues, beefs if you like, with many of the diet clubs, as I said earlier, every method of dieting that works, I'm all for it. However, many of these diet clubs work by providing accountability through groups. So you go, you weigh in every week, you make sure you've done what you need to do to get a loss, because there's a group of your peers there that you don't want to let down. It's also why a lot of people use coaches. They like the accountability that brings. However, the percentage, shall we say, of people who regain weight after dieting with these clubs is very large indeed. It's a very high percentage. So can we really say that you've had a successful diet if you have lost 2 stone and then in the resuming 3 months, 6 months afterwards have regained 2 stone or more? Now, I personally wouldn't call that a success. If you go to anyone for advice, whether that's a driving instructor, learn how to drive, whatever the case may be, you should be getting educated, taught strategies, how to cope in the future, how to continually keep this weight off and have a sustainable lifestyle. So this is one of the things why we're taking the time so much here and going through everything in depth to make sure that we give you control so that you don't have to panic if you've lost 2 stone. So comes to Christmas and you regain 3, 4, 5 pounds, you've been overdoing it, family dinner, a couple of drinks and whatever, that's perfectly normal, that's acceptable, there is no issue. Please don't have an issue with that, because if you understand how this works, you understand that you can go, okay, next week I'm going to walk an extra mile, or I'm going to do an extra gym class, I'm going to cut back some calories, and I know that I can pull that back. That empowers you so much as a person to have that level of control. So again, something I will say to many clients of mine and people when I discuss weight loss is that, as I said, everyone's a different shape and size. Get to a point where you are comfortable in your own skin. That doesn't mean 6-pack abs, doesn't mean shredded on the beach. It can be wherever you feel you're comfortable. Now, if you get to that point and you go, oh, I'm going to book a holiday that's 8 weeks away, or pick a time frame, and you think, do you know what, I'm pretty comfortable how I am right now because I'm fully clothed on a day-to-day basis. However, I'm going to wear my shorts, bikini, whatever it is, I'd really like to lose a few pounds. Again, go back to these methods, go back to this leading principle, apply one of these methods. The method might change each time. This is something I probably should have said earlier. The method might change each time. So if you do something like a shake diet, which again is something I don't personally promote, but it works for you, go for it. And you get to a point where you've found you can control, maintain your weight there, and you go, oh, 8 weeks to holiday, pick a different method. Try something else. Get something else to work for you. Trial and error. But at that point, you can go, I want to lose a few pounds for my holiday. I want to go and look good, get my pictures, or say bikini shots, whatever it might be. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to stay in perfect shape all year round. Do whatever feels comfortable for you. So let's get back to a bit more facts and science. Something to really think about when you are planning a diet. And again, I'm doing a video on how to put together a diet, build a diet. So don't get bogged down, but something to think about is satiety, how full a food makes you feel. Right? So we'll do an index list on a satiety video so you understand what foods will make you feel fullest. Also, stay hydrated. If you get dehydrated, your body can very easily confuse that for hunger. So stay hydrated, eat satiating foods. So we'll cover that. Something else that frustrates people as they lose weight is that losing weight is not a straight line all the way down. You may start here, come down a little, stall, come down a little, stall, find you have to do a diet break, go back up a little, come back down. The word diet break came in there again, another video covered. There is sometimes, as you diet, what we call a whoosh effect. Dieting can be stressful on the body, right? So if you have got your calorie deficit, there it is again, calorie deficit, absolutely bang on. You're going out doing your walks, you're doing a bit of exercise, so you've lost 2 pounds last week, 2 pounds this week, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds. You're feeling great. Weigh yourself on your weighing day and you've lost nothing. There are various possible reasons for this. However, one of them may simply be that your body is retaining some water, and in the following 2-3 days, this water will fall off and you will get your weight loss. Now, there's some various thoughts behind that, but one of the main ones is stress, cortisol. So if, as a female, you are having your period, again, there'll be a hormonal video, but your weight can go up, sometimes it'll stall and then you'll get a drop. If you're in a particularly stressful situation at work, at home, if you're lacking in sleep, so many possibilities that could be stressing you out and stopping that weight loss, despite the fact that you know you have stuck to this deficit and you know you've done what you have to do. If this whoosh still doesn't happen, then it may be time to adjust something. It may be time to lower calories a little bit, put your output up, or as I said, if you've been going for maybe 2 months, 3 months, and you find you've just stalled, this might be time to do the diet break, put your food back up a little. So, coming back to adherence, something that happens a lot is self-sabotage. We as humans have this ability to, I'm really searching for words here, apologies, to know what we need to do and not doing it. This isn't just dieting, this is personal life, this is work, this is finances, this is everything in life. You know what you need to do and you do the opposite, or you procrastinate and say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week. There's an element of self-sabotage in there. Now, I really don't want to start going down the mental health issue route. We will cover all that with experts who really understand that topic. But there is something in here that is putting you off, telling you that you don't deserve it, you're not worth it, you're not ready for it. Whatever the case may be, try and get over that as best you can. As I say, there'll be other videos again covering mental health aspects and whatever. But try and push on. You know the things that you need to do. You know the actions you need to take. Implement them. Be accountable to yourself. If you're struggling to be accountable to yourself, get a friend, get a group. There may be a group of people who are on the site who have all got a goal of losing a stone before the holidays. Get together, create a WhatsApp group, get on one of the forums, create a little group and check on everyone midweek and end of the week. who's hitting their targets, who's struggling, what's the issues, how can we help each other. As I said at the very beginning, the defining principle of this is really simple, but it's hard, it's bloody hard. Cheesecake is delicious. Desserts, lovely food is great. However, the things that taste the best are often also the densest in calories. So, as I said, it's a matter of rationing. It's not to say you can't have, there's no such thing as a bad food. Right? There's just over-consumption. So, I'm kind of coming to the end here, but I want to leave you a very quick pro tip that I'm hoping a lot of you'll appreciate. So, something that people will basically try and remove completely when they're dieting is alcohol. So, alcohol is what we would pretty much class as empty calories, like drinking a can of full fat Coke. Personally, I love a can of full fat Coke. However, if I know that I've got a goal to hit, if I've got something to be in shape for, that's a couple of hundred calories you could better spend elsewhere. So, if you have a night out, if there's something on work, something personal, say Christmas, whatever the case may be, there are always smart choices you can make. So, I've got some numbers written down here, and I'll just go back to these. So, a large glass of red wine is coming in around 220 calories. Around the same amount of cider, which would be what, a quarter pint, I don't know who would drink that, but just for an example, would be around 210 calories. However, one measure of vodka would be roughly 50, 1/4 the amount. If you mix that with a diet mixer, you can save yourself a good chunk of calories, have a night out, not do too much damage, get back on track the next day, and get back on with your weight loss journey. Not promoting alcohol, not promoting drinking, do it safely, do it wisely, but let's be honest, we all enjoy a night out, we all need some socialising. What's the point of getting the best shape of your life and staying in the house and not going out? You want to show off a little bit, you want people to say how good you look. So if you've got something on, smart choices. The same comes when you go to a restaurant. If you're out there and you know that you've got a target to meet, whatever the reason is, there's a wedding dress to fit into, there's a holiday coming up, have a meal, skip the dessert, make smart choices. So hopefully this has been a helpful video for you. As I say, there's many videos to refer to from this video about the, about ghrelin and leptin, about the hunger hormones as they change, about satiety, about building your diet. So many videos that will work in conjunction with this, but this is just really an overall introduction into what's required for fat loss. So hope you've enjoyed it. As always, any questions, let us know. We will try and sort them, try and answer you. If need be, we can do more videos to fill in any gaps we've missed. But hopefully it's been helpful. I'll see you again soon.